US Ambassador to NATO and Senior Advisor at the Centre for Strategic and International Studies, Ambassador Kay Bailey Hutchison joins me now. A very warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining us on Sky News.
Thank you so much, Sally. Good to be with you.
Now, as we just heard there in Deborah's report from Kyiv, sources in Ukraine, the West and Russia are all predicting that there could be an imminent offensive from Moscow in just weeks, as we heard there. What could that potential next offensive look like?
Yes, Sally, you know, there are clearly troops on the border with Belarus. Russia has been trying to bring Belarus into this for a long time. So it is not at all a surprise that Russia would be looking at another invasion, perhaps from that side. And I think it is so essential that our allies, of which I have to say Great Britain has done a wonderful leadership role in providing early support for Ukraine and helping to bring all of our alliance together. But now I think we need to go for a win with Ukraine, help them as they are helping themselves, fighting this horrendous invasion of their country. And I think another onslaught is imminent. I think the reporter has gotten probably good intelligence, and we must help Ukraine prepare for that. The heavy tanks will do that, and we should be sending those as soon as possible for their preparation.
And certainly we have seen Western partners galvanized in recent weeks, this coalition of tanks being offered to Ukraine, being expedited. Is there a sense that this next phase, this next offensive, could be the make or break it fight in this war?
I wish I could say that we were seeing the end like that. I think it's way too early to tell. I think Ukraine has shown a resilience for this basically year that they have been under siege by Russia. Russia is showing that they are very serious. I won't say they, I'd say Putin is very serious about winning this so that he can have a victory at home. But I do think that it could last even longer. I think this ramp up will be brutal. And that's why I think we have to do everything to help Ukraine as we are doing, but maybe not fast enough. Maybe we need to go more quickly and more decisively to help Ukraine in this fight for their country and their sovereignty.
Now, the talk of tanks has very quickly become a talk of fast jets. Now, the UK and the US have ruled out sending fast jets to Ukraine for now. But is this something that you see happening?
I do think down the road, as we are assessing what Ukraine needs, that air power should be included. I think longer range missiles should also be included so that the Ukrainians can stop these missile launchers that are sending the missiles in, and also the places where the drones are basing. I think it is important that they have the weapons they need to stop the drones and the missiles coming from inside Russia. And I think that would be a next step to help the Ukraine. And I think air power should always be on the table. We need to help the Ukrainians finish this, and it's not going to be finished if we just take incremental steps to arm them with whatever Russia is doing at the time.
Well, if that's the case, and Western partners are now committed to helping Ukraine finish this war, why not give them everything they need now, including fast jets?
I think we should be.
Is that something you see happening?
I think it is a possibility. I don't think it's a probability right now. I think everyone in the alliance is looking carefully at what Russia has, what they're doing, how long their arms will last. But I do think it is time for us to look at doing more decisive heavier weaponry. Certainly the tanks will be a major step, especially if there is an offensive that is coming from Russia, which I think we all agree probably is in the works. Having the heavy armor is going to be very important for Ukraine, and that's new, so that should be done. But then I think the next step would be the longer range missile launchers to defer the missiles that are coming into Ukraine and destroying buildings and apartments and civilian schools and hospitals. I think that's the next step for all of us to consider. And then I hope we will look at air power if it would finish this war in Ukraine's favor and let them become the sovereign nation and start rebuilding their country from this hostile invasion that they have witnessed and participated in.
Now, you mentioned earlier on in your interview the UK's contribution to the war in Ukraine. But it was just yesterday a US general told Ben Wallace, it was reported yesterday, a US general told Ben Wallace that the British Army is no longer regarded as a Tier 1 force. It's barely regarded as a Tier 2 force alongside the likes of Germany, Italy and Belgium. How concerning is that among the military community and with partners like America?
Well, most certainly we rely heavily on UK. They have been a leader in helping Ukraine from the earliest moments of the invasion. They have been well equipped. They are a reliable ally and a strong one. They're not anywhere near in the category with Germany, which is not an offensive military at all, but UK is. They have been in combat by our side in Afghanistan, and then were one of the framework nations that was helping in Kabul to defend the air base. So I would not put them in the same category at all, but I do think all of us, including UK, including the US, must double down on our own military spending. Yes, these are hard times. They're hard times for our population, for your population, but we must put defense first because our security depends on our reliability. And our reliability is going to have to be showing that we are re-upping our arms, that we're sending a lot to Ukraine, but we are assuring that we have what we need for our own purposes because we never know when some attack is going to happen, and we must be ready to fight two battles at the same time, not just helping another country with their own sovereignty. So we need both, and we need to put this as a priority, both in the United States and in Europe, and certainly including the UK.
Poland has recently announced it's going to be upgrading its defence spending to 4% of GDP. What would you like to see the UK do?
I think 4% is a worthy goal. When we are looking at what Russia is doing right now and the horrendous attacks that they have made on Ukraine, and previously Ukraine and Georgia, I think we need to look at 4% as the norm. And secondly, of course, we are also looking at all the things that China is doing. We don't have an adversary in China, but we have a potential adversary that we must deter against. That means all of us have to be more serious about security as a priority. We cannot be left hollow, or we will see the consequences of more activity of oligarchs and adversaries that are hostile in their intentions to Western-based countries.
Okay, Kay Bailey Hutchison, former US ambassador to NATO. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for your expertise this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Sally.